I got good news and bad news, and I don't know the total answer yet, but Wilbur threw a fit last night. I was just coming out with load number 10 and took off in first gear, and I made it about 100 feet and it quit in first gear. Just revved up and spun out like it lost the gear, like it stripped it out. Which is new to me. It's always had no problems. Since I bought the truck, it didn't have fourth gear, but I mean, come on. I barely ever get out of first or second gear, let alone need to get all the way up to fourth. But yeah, it just kind of revved up. It's got this issue, I think, with the torque converter, where it'll, if it gets loaded up, please stop. If it gets loaded up too much and it's in too high of a gear, it'll just bog down and stop moving. But it won't cut out and rev up like it stripped a gear. It'll just bog way down and just sit there, and just not move. Well, last night, like I said, in first gear, it revved up. So it was like it was turning loose. So I threw it in second, but because of that power issue that it has, it couldn't pull itself up. I was kind of bogged down in some little ruts. I say little ruts, like a foot deep, but for this truck, that's little ruts. So I ended up having to dump the dirt off of it last night, and I got the excavator this morning and went ahead and pulled it up here on level ground. Now, once I got it up out of those ruts, I was able to drive in first gear again, but I had limited, stop it, you guys. Stop throwing dirt. I was able to drive, but as I approached another little hill in first, it wanted to cut out again and quit on me. So I still think something's going on with first gear. I've been going through I have the shop manual, and it's got a list of, troubleshooting issues if you don't have first, if you don't have fourth, if you don't have this and that, and all of them just say it could be these random clutches. But I am not a transmission guy by any means, and apparently neither are the parts guys, because I call them and I ask for information about parts for this truck, and it's the usual, a what? A DJ, huh? A who? Even when you call a Caterpillar and it's their freaking drivetrain, they don't know. So you've got to be able to get like the exact specific numbers, and I found about a half a dozen Caterpillar part numbers on this transmission, but none of them indicate exactly what transmission it necessarily is. One guy said he thought it was a 980B. When I search 980B, I find a wheel loader, not a transmission, but maybe it's transmission part number 2, I don't know. So anyway, the old boy threw a fit for now. It'll drive empty on flat ground in first gear, but it will not drive loaded in first gear, I don't think, which sucks because that's typically where I drive. So I'm going to go through and try to check all the fluids. It does leak fluid occasionally. I topped everything off last night when it started acting up, and it didn't seem to fix anything. Maybe it's still a little bit low on gear oil, which I don't even think necessarily is the transmission fluid. I don't know. I'm a bad mechanic. I'm a bad owner of this machine, I'll be honest with you guys. I learn as I have to. I don't know pretty much any more than I've been forced to learn when it breaks. So anyway, I'm going to try to go through and troubleshoot. Calling around, one guy said he thought a rebuilt transmission would be probably $5,000 to $6,000, which is what I expected. I really don't want to do that unless it would, mean, hey, throw a new transmission or a rebuilt transmission and you get another 10 years. That I would do, which I know there's no guarantee. But before I go and drop money on a new transmission or a rebuilt transmission, I wanted to go through, troubleshoot on this one and see what I can figure out. But I guess this is a plea for help. If there's anybody out there that knows about these old trucks or knows about just articulating trucks and transmissions in general, this is a DJB 350 or 35 series, I believe. It's got a Cat 3306 engine. I don't know what transmission. Like I said, the one guy said he thought it was a 980B transmission. But when I called another place, they couldn't identify a transmission by that number. So I don't know. But if anybody's out there that knows what could be the issue with this thing, one, with it, wanting to lose a gear, and two, with it having that issue where it bogs down and loads up and just doesn't want to go. It doesn't strip out, it just doesn't go. If anybody knows anything along those lines, I'd love some input here. I'm happy to try to tear the thing apart and fix it myself. I'm concerned I might not even be able to find parts for it. I mean, this thing was built in the late 70s, early 80s maybe. Hopefully I can get parts since Caterpillar themselves is still in business. Caterpillar bought out DJB in the 80s. So as long as I can get the exact part number, I think Caterpillar will be able to get me the parts. But it's a matter of figuring out what parts I need. Anyway, that's it for tonight, or for today, with this old boy. I'll have to start spending some time pulling shields off and starting to figure it out, I guess.